was glowing this very, very dim white light that I was able to see maybe 10 feet in a complete 360 all around me. In all directions I could see away from me because I was emanating this light, but that's how dim it was. I thought to myself, okay, well, I don't understand how I'm emanating this light. It doesn't make any sense to me, but what I do know is one thing. I'm standing on some kind of ground. And I thought to myself, if there's a ground, maybe there's a ceiling. So I went to reach my hand up, and as I reached my hand up, I touched the ceiling without touching it. And I know how ridiculous that sounds. But if you can imagine your consciousness reaching up and touching something and knowing for 100% sure that it's there without having to physically touch it. I mean, it's not such a alien concept in all actuality. I mean, because with light, we're able to see everything around us. I mean, I can see that mirror that's, you know, a good 15 feet behind me, maybe 20 feet behind me. I can see that mirror. I don't have to go over there and touch it to know it's real. But I know for 100% sure that it's there. And the same way, and it kind of shocked me because I jerked my hand back down. I was like, whoa, there's a ceiling up there, and I know that it's there. I can't see it, but I know for 100% sure that it's there. And I said, okay, I don't understand that either. There's a lot of things I didn't understand about this place, but or how I was able to feel things without touching them. I mean, some of these things just made no sense to me whatsoever. But I thought to myself, okay, there's a floor, there's a ceiling. Ceilings don't hold themselves up. There's got to be a wall somewhere. If there's a wall, there's a door, there's a window, there's a way out of here. So I went to take a step forward to go find myself a door to get out. And, you know, and as I took a step forward, the only way I can describe it is like a rubber band. If you take a rubber band, you can stretch it. And that's how it's either my body did or my consciousness did. All I know is I found myself moving forward at a very rapid pace, but yet my back foot was still in place. As I stretched out and wanted to go that direction, I did at a very rapid pace. I stretched out maybe like 1, 2, 3 football fields. While the back stays in place, the front stretching out, and that's the only way I can explain it. All I know is I knew for 100% sure that I was moving forward at a very rapid pace, but I was getting nowhere. So with my back foot in place, I began to spin, and as I'm stretching out, I began to realize that I'm standing in between 2 parallel planes that stretch on forever, and there's no walls, there's no doors, there's no windows. I'm trapped in between these 2 parallel planes, and there's no way out. And when I realized that, I pulled my foot back and put it down without even having left where I was standing. Like I said, I stretched out at least 3 football fields worth of length, a good 300 yards. And from that point, I became very scared. And but before I could even think another thought, I was snatched up off of my feet by a very, very large demon. Of course, for me, I didn't know what had happened. It was like getting hit by a truck and having no clue that it was ever coming. This thing had come up behind me so fast, and it caught me by complete surprise, and it was so big. I can't possibly begin to describe what it's like being, what it feels like to be in the grips of something that big. But I'll do my best. 1 minute I'm standing there, the next minute I'm leaning backwards like this. My feet are out more or less in front of me, and they're popping. And I have this pain just shooting from my head to my feet like a bolt of electricity, but it's not stopping. It's like being constantly shocked or electrocuted. And I had this pounding sensation, just hurting pounding sensation coming from my left shoulder that hurts even worse than this electricity that's running through my body. And I look to my left and I see these fingers which come down to roughly the bottom of my chest. And it was even hard to look over to the side because the depth of its hand was like this. The width of its hand was like this. I mean, it literally went from the side of my neck up to maybe past the end of my shoulder, the width of its hand. The color of its skin was black and red. Now, I don't know if it was red with black shadows moving across it, or if it was red with a black oily substance like a cloud moving beneath the skin so that it makes it have a perception of moving while it's standing still. You know, kind of like the sky stands still and the clouds will move across it. Kind of like that. I'm watching these giant red fingers with blackness moving through it. Now, like I said, I don't know if it was shadows or if it was a substance beneath the skin. All I know is the fingers were very big. Each one was about this big around and roughly about this long. And this thing was crushing my left shoulder. Now, one thing I do understand in retrospect is that pain when you have no body. When you have a body, I can break a finger and it only hurts here where the break is. It doesn't hurt at my feet. But when you're in your soul's body, when your soul experiences pain, you experience it everywhere because there's no pain receptors to stop your brain from saying, oh, it hurts here. No, it hurts everywhere. Anywhere you experience pain, it runs through your body like electricity. You feel it from the very top of your hairs to the bottom of the soles of your feet. If I hit you in the leg, you would feel it in your ear. For as weird as that sounds, you would feel it everywhere. Because, like I said, there's no specific pain receptors. You just feel pain as if it were a bolt of electricity through your entire body. The only thing that lets you know exactly where you received that pain from would be that pounding sensation, kind of like a heartbeat. That throbbing sensation when you got an infection. That's the only thing that lets you know exactly where you've been hit. You feel it everywhere, though. And this thing had a hold of me, and I'm looking down at these fingers, and I'm just thinking to myself, what is this that has a hold of me? And as I'm thinking this, I understand now, also in retrospect, that anything that you think in this place can be heard as if you had spoken it out loud. And this thing had me like this and was just smiling at me. It had looked back and it was smiling at me, waiting for me to look at it. And when I looked over my shoulder and up at it, it was already staring at me. And I understand now that it had heard what I was thinking and just wanted to give me a nice little shock, you know, on top of the pain that I was already experiencing. Just because of the grotesqueness of its face. I mean, this thing was grotesque. And it was huge. Overall, the thing, and I know this sounds already more crazy than everything that I've already said, but this thing is 13 feet tall, and it's not like I sat there and said, okay, stand still, let me grab a step ladder and measure you. Where's my tape measure? You know, no. Anything that you want to know in this place, all you have to do is ask it. Ask it in your mind or ask it out loud, and the answer will be given to you. It doesn't matter. And I thought to myself, how big is this thing? And the answer immediately came to me, 13 feet. It was exactly 13 feet tall. And I didn't ask myself how much it weighed, otherwise I would know that too. All I know is the thing was huge. It was built like Arnold Schwarzenegger in his prime. I mean, just ripped full of muscles. Just big. It's, like I said, its skin was black and red. It had no hair whatsoever on its body. None. Like no hair up here, no mustache, no beard, no hair on the knuckles like I have. Just completely hairless. It's completely humanoid in shape, though. I mean, it had 2 legs, 2 arms, 1 mouth, 1 nose, 2 ears. Other than that, it looked completely human. The differences was this, where our eyes are white. Its was yellow, and where the iris of our eyes can be green or blue or brown, its was gold and diamond shaped like a snake's, and it had a really flat nose. I mean, just looked like somebody was literally pushing its nose against its face, and its nose was easily as wide as its mouth. So really flat, really wide nose, and gleaming white teeth. I mean, perfectly shaped, just like a human's, probably better than mine. And it had, the only thing that looked really strange about its teeth was it had, where we have our canines, it had 2 tusks coming up out of its mouth like a boar, like a wild pig. It was I said it was just very large, 13 feet tall, and just extremely muscular. And this thing, like I said, it just picked me up like I weighed nothing to it. And it was taking me along for a ride. And but just I only looked at its face for, I would say, a second, and that's all that it took. Yeah, I was just, as a man, I'm not afraid of any other man on the face of this earth. I will fight anybody. I don't care how much bigger they are than me. But this thing, there was no fighting it. I mean, it was far too big. I mean, 13 feet tall versus 6 feet tall. I could stack another one of me on top of my head and still not be as tall as it. You know, and if I had to guess, I would say roughly about in between 3,000 and 4,000 pounds. I mean, I don't know for sure. I'm just guessing, but I would say that's a pretty fair estimate. The thing, like I said, it just picked me up and took off with me, and I'm not sure if my feet were popping out of just sheer pain, or if it was the speed at which we were moving. But this thing was running. It had me by one hand, by the shoulder. It had me by the shoulder with one hand, and it was moving at a very, very fast velocity. If I would guess, I would say probably at over 80 to 100 miles an hour. Just rough guess. It may have been faster than that, I don't know. But all I know is the thing was moving very, very fast. And had complete control. I mean, just there was nothing at all I could do to get away or anything like that. And I looked at its face for only a second, and it was enough to scare me. It would be enough to scare anybody, I'm pretty sure. And I looked away from it, and from that point forward, the only way I can describe it is all hope just poured out of me. I literally felt hope and emotion as if it were a physical substance, like water in a cup just being poured out of me. I literally felt hope pour out of me, starting from the inside of my head. It just drained out of my body all the way down and right out through my feet. And once hope left me, it was like I became numb. My feet were still popping, but I couldn't feel any pain. It was just like I was just drained completely of all strength. Any energy that I had was just gone. It was